Sinking Fund Management for Strata and Commercial Buildings, Part 2. Earlier on we looked at the sinking funds and the history of sinking funds and that in Australia. So what we'll look at will be a case study, and we'll go through what looks like in one of the reports and how that sort of goes together. So the problem with a lot of sinking funds, there's not enough money put aside for major items, and if you don't look after your building in the other states as opposed to some in Queensland, you're going to get yourself in a little bit of trouble. So the one we'll start off with is one that's in not really the best condition, and I'll go through that and let you know the way that we sort of tried to manage that better for the client. Alrighty. So this is a set of 56 units. The building hasn't been maintained for 20 years. There's building cracking. There's painting repairs that need to be done. The complex was underinsured. It needs painting. Pool needs attention. Retaining walls are falling down, and you've got pipework issues. So you've got a fair bit of work that they need to do. Now, what you can see in these sinking funds, there's two critical areas in here in the management of the sinking fund forecast. One is looking at the elements of the building and how those elements make up the sinking fund forecast, and then the second part of it is to look at these parts and go, how are we going to jumble these around? Alright. Now you usually find that painting is in, say, a 10-year cycle, and you'll find there's as part of these three items, we're going to have a look here. So there's two painting cycles that are in this building. So we'll have a look to see where these main issues are. So you can see in here all the cracking in that from the gyprock, and so you've got water penetration in going through here. So the longer you leave this sort of stuff, then the more you're going to pay. So if we go and have a look here, you can see this is your first critical area of your sinking fund forecast, and then this is the second cycle. So at the moment now they've got not much money in the bank now, so what we had to do is trying to juggle these figures around here to make that nice and smooth, so we don't have to hit them with a special levy first up. So what we're trying to do is minimise the impact to the body corporate or owners committee to make sure that everything sort of runs as smooth as possible. So you can see this is one part of the area that needs a bit of trouble. You've got a paved driveway, so you've got to put some money aside for the pavers in here. Now, as your building gets older, you've got a heap of trees sitting around the countryside, so we need to have a look at that to put some money aside to look after those trees. Okay, so we're looking at driveway area, underground pipework. Now the gardens, most of that is administration fund for your day-to-day. Now if you're looking for a refurbishment on a large item, then that would be your sinking fund later down the track. So you've got the painting to your main building in superstructure. You've got some money to put aside for your roof. You've got your downpipes down the side, and then from the common areas you've got common stairwells which need to be serviced and painted. So what we ended up doing was painting. Well, first of all we cleaned up got the building repairs, got that done in year 1. Then in year 2, then we painted the outside of the building, and then in year 3 we painted the inside stairwells because they can last a little bit longer. And that's why we sort of staged that over the first 3 years, because that's the biggest impact, and then we managed to bring the levies down to a bit more reality until they're back on track for their second part of the cycle. So that's one section that we can look at in that part 2. We'll go through one of the other reports and